All right. Welcome into the Mike Herndon Show, week 10. I am Mike Herndon, and this week I am joined by a very special co-host, my football and other F words co-host, Zachary Lyons. Welcome, Zach. Welcome to your first Mike Herndon Show.
I'm happy to be here. It's going to be pretty interesting because usually I drive the show and everything, and here I am just going to have to keep my mouth shut for 40 minutes while you just talk and break down film. It's going to be very hard for me not to interject. I told Braden on a football show on Thursday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time that I would be like the Muppets, Statler and Wardroff or Wardo. I can never remember his name, but the two old guy Muppets in the balcony. I'm just going to heckle you the whole time.
I'm fine with that. I mean, we could turn this into football and other, whatever.
Film words, football film and other F words.
Yeah, film words and other F words, whatever we want to call it. We can do whatever we want here. It is my
your show. Yeah, it's your show. It's right there in the title, The Mike Herndon Show.
It is. It's right there, just as you can see. But so for today, the topics we're getting into are obviously doing the film breakdown as usual from Titans Chiefs and talking a little bit about Malik Willis's second game and as well as a strong defensive performance from the Titans as we all kind of know by this point. But we'll look at some of the specific plays that I found interesting from the game, and then after that we'll get into the preview for Titans Broncos, Moneymaker Mike, and then the mic drop segment, and that will be the show today. But I guess we can start just getting into some Malik Willis talk.
Oh well, I mean, I can't wait because I think if you show at least one play, we're gonna have at least one argument. Are you showing the Geoff Swaim?
I am.
The one with the ineligible man downfield. According to
we will get into that. We will get into that. So we will start here with a positive. This is probably the best throw so far of Malik Willis's career, and it's fun to see from the sideline view angle because obviously you could tell it was a special throw on the broadcast, but watching the sideline view, you can really kind of see really how special it really was because Hooper really is open from the jump, but the pressure coming from Chris Jones and I believe it's George Karlaftis off the edge over here immediately puts Willis into retreat mode, and he just is throwing off of his back foot. That's an insane throw.
That is the Malik Willis throw, right? I mean, isn't that what we always talk about? Is that is the throw that makes him special.
It is. I mean, that is on a line, and he's throwing it off of his back foot, running away from the goal, or running away from the line of scrimmage. I mean, that is just so unorthodox as a throwing motion right here.
The whole thing is ridiculous.
It is. He puts it right on him, and obviously it's a nice play for a first down. But that is the stuff where you look at it and here's the I'll show the sideline.
Is that Jordan Roos right there? See, this is why I should be on your film shows because I'm looking at Jordan Roos over there in the blue.
Right? That's got to be Jordan Roos.
I think that's Jordan Roos because he wore something kind of ridiculous on the plane that weekend.
He is what is it? Creature Man is his.
Is that his nickname? Creature Man.
Yeah. Here's the I got to show the end zone view just because it's pretty spectacular as well. I mean, just ridiculous. So, I mean, and that's the kind of stuff, obviously, that you see with Willis and you think, okay, that is the kind of throw that gets you excited. And
can you go back to the all-22 version of that throw real quick? Because I got a question about it.
I can. Let me get it.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Inquiring minds. Yeah. Let's see. So you want the sideline.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, hold on. Let me this throw. So snap the ball real quick if you can. Let's see here. Okay, right here. This defense is ridiculous because look at everybody that is coming through. Is that a run blitz? Is that what they're expecting, or is this we're just gonna try to get somebody tackled in the backfield?
Let me go back and see here if they're actually run blitzing. Yeah, they are run blitzing. So
They're known to do that, right? Kansas City is known to do that a lot.
Yeah, so they're run blitzing here. You see 50, which I think is gay.
We can't say that, Mike. It's 2022.
Sorry. Willie Gay. Coming up, and he's coming downhill no matter what here. Like, he's not reading anything, he's just coming. Now the rest of it, they're just playing, and this is the disrespect factor of like the Titans passing game. This is when they just don't give a shit about your passing game. They are pressed up on both ends. That both the corners are pressed up. You've got one safety who's not even that deep. I mean, he's sitting at maybe 14 yards ish, which isn't that deep for a single high safety. They're just saying, hey, we'll give you one-on-one on the outside all day long. We don't give a shit. And obviously the Titans do a good job of leaking Hooper out. They need more of this stuff, right? Like, they need more of the plays where they can get guys open without them necessarily have to win on the route, just because it's, they don't have guys that are great separators right now. There's all the stats out there this week about that. I think Treylon Burks will help.
Did not even care about Austin Hooper either.
No, and it looks like the safety here. Let's see, what is the safety doing? He's kind of run fitting, and then he's staying over top of NWI, and then kind of finally comes over to Hooper. But yeah, he's not terribly pressed about any of the Titans passing game. He is looking downhill to run fit, which is really crazy for a guy in that spot. So
I tell you, Jordan Roos looks like a fucking dwarf, like an actual elvish dwarf, not a small person or whatever.
Not a little guy.
Not a little guy.
Yeah, it is. But that throw is obviously special, and something that you just don't see many guys capable of doing.
Because it's kind of crazy, because when you look at it from this angle, probably specifically, is when I just don't understand how he even was, because he's so small, right? Like, he's a short guy. It's amazing to me that he was able to look at this. He looks like a fucking ballerina.
The crazy thing here too is
a little music box.
He's throwing off of his right foot with his right hand, which is weird. Like, that is backwards from what you would normally do. Most of the time, if you're running and you're going to throw, you jump off of your left foot and throw right-handed. But he's wrong footing this thing and still
puts it around the guy. Like, the defender that's coming in, he does one of those weird angles. The look at his arm angle.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just an insane throw.
That's a Patrick Mahomes throw. Like, that is a Malik Willis throw. That's crazy.
It definitely is. Yeah, and it's one of the reasons that you're kind of excited by this guy, like, right? I mean, and this is the other reason I think you can kind of be excited about this is when he was throwing in this game, he looked a lot more confident. There were a lot more throws in rhythm, but this is a perfect back shoulder throw.
Yeah.
Like, watch him. He hits it on time. Back foot hits the ground. Ball's out. Hits it perfect.
And he's
placement.
So calm.
Yeah, that is one thing that stood out in this game was there was no hesitation. He didn't look frazzled. He didn't look concerned about anything. He's just hitting the back foot, letting the ball go, puts it right where it needs to be, and Hooper goes and makes a play for him.
But we talked about it on Football to the Efforts, but this is one of those throws where, like, he gets it, he gets it, and he throws it. Like, there's no hesitation. He did that a few times this game, I thought.
And he knows. I mean, this is really. I mean, the Chiefs aren't hiding anything here, right? I mean, this is cover one man free all the way. Like, they are pressed up all the way across the board. Again, like, zero respect for the Titans pass catchers, and they're just sitting there in that single high look. And he picks basically the matchup he wants here pre-snap and is just going to go to it. So he gets the slot fade to Hooper, who makes a great catch too. But the throw here is really like, that is what you want to see. And this is the thing that I wasn't sure he had either, right? Like, throwing in rhythm, putting touch on the ball, putting not just an accurate throw, but like a ball that understands the leverage of the receiver versus the defender and takes advantage of it and puts it where only his guy can make a play. Those were the things I wasn't sure about. And so he showed us some of that in this game, which is exciting. So like, that's the kind of stuff that you want to see more of, obviously, but they did seem to really simplify a lot of this for him in this game. They were not wanting him to make, full field reads. They were not wanting him to even really test the middle of the field for the most part. It seemed, just based on their play calling. So
can we talk about this play real quick at the Swaim is split out wide. And Kevin Rader's on the field. Chigakonku, they had 4 tight ends on the field, and all 4 ran routes.
Yeah.
What a shitty wide receiver core.
It is. I mean, it is. It's a terrible wide receiver core. It's
a weird play. Like, it's just funny to me because I'm thinking, who this week had the balls to go up to Mike Vrabel and say, "Hey, I got this play call, this play design for our rookie quarterback. We're going to have all 4 tight ends on the field, and all 4 are going to run routes, and Geoff Swaim's going to be split out wide." Like, who? That had to be. Is that Tim Kelly? Does he do Tim Kelly and Todd Downing go together, like holding hands, like 2 children asking permission to do something? Can my friend sleep over? Like, is all right if it's okay with her parents if Sally sleeps over? Like, are they going in there and saying this is the play that's going to work against the Kansas City fucking Chiefs?
Maybe. I mean, they had to get creative to some degree just because they were up against it. I mean, they knew they were going to have to put up some points, and with the personnel they had out there, it was always going to be rough. But here's a play that I thought Willis at times could have been a little bit more patient, and this is the first example of that. And everyone's favorite receiver, Cody Hollister, is coming in motion, and then he's running this kind of just flat route. So he's crossing the formation, running a flat. And they're running this boot. So they ran this concept a couple times. It's basically a flood concept into the field with Malik Willis booting out and giving him kind of a high-low read on the boundary without a lot of traffic to deal with, and giving him the option to get out and run if he wants to. But if you watch right here, Willis or Hollister is initially covered, and the inbreaker from Westbrook is really not there. Woods is running like a deep out or deep comeback here, and he's not even really into his break yet. So Willis, I think, initially is like, all right, I'm taking off, I'm running, I'm just gonna go make a play. Well, the linebacker does come off of Hollister, and right here, you'd like to have him have the awareness to say, okay, well, if the linebacker just dropped Hollister, then Hollister's wide open. Because what Hollister does end up being just wide open, and rather than just toss him the ball out there in the flat where he's got, even Cody Hollister is going to be able to run for a little while here. He tries to make a play, runs into traffic, and picks up I think maybe a yard or 2 or so. But
let me ask you though, but because if you'll pause it like right when the linebacker starts moving on a Malik here. Because he's going to Hollister right there.
Yeah.
If he stops to plan does he have enough time to stop, set his feet to make the throw? Because he's still looking down the field, right? I mean, like, you can see his helmet look down that way.
Yeah. And
not get hit. Like, I'm just asking for, because I feel like if he looks over to the left, there's another second gone, and then he stops, has to set his feet. I guess it looks like the linebacker went into contain.
Yeah, so. I mean, the linebacker kind of, he's got to stop his momentum too, because he's initially headed outside. So I think he did have time. Now, like, I'm not saying this is a terrible play by Willis or anything, because
you're honestly saying to cut Malik Willis, right?
He read it right. Like, right, he saw Hollister's covered. I'm going to my next read. I look there. Those guys aren't open. And then he took off running. But I guess my only wish here is that if he sees this linebacker drop off, and maybe he didn't see him because he did have his eyes downfield until like the last minute when he did start to drop his eyes and run. Maybe he just never saw it, but I wish he would think, oh, that guy dropped Hollister. Let me find him in the flat, because that could have been potentially a pretty big play for them.
Do you think he should have tried to hit? Probably not, because the safety's coming up behind Woods, but it seems like at some point in between he could have gone to Woods.
Yeah,
and he was looking downfield, so I just kind of wonder if maybe his eyes are stopped at NWI instead of looking at Woods.
Yeah, it seemed to me like he looked to NWI first and never really gave Woods a chance to get out of his break here, which, Woods is open, but frankly, like 21, the Chiefs played this play a little bit weird. So I think that's part of it. Like, they muddied up the read a little bit, just because I don't think they really played this play the way that their defense was designed to do so. Like, I don't think that linebacker should have ever gone with Hollister. I'm guessing 21 had flat responsibility, the corner up there, and he should have stuck down and picked up Hollister when he came out, which would have meant that Woods would have been open here. But they kind of muddy it up, and 21 drops way deep. And it's really, I mean, he's eventually going to be in Woods' path, although if you hit him right out of the break, maybe he's not able to make a play. But yeah, it's one of those things where you just wish he would be a little bit more patient with it and kind of let things develop. But the other one, we'll get to the play that you want to talk about. Oh, no. We got one more before that one. This is let me get it pulled here.
Am I more talkative and inquisitive than Easton is, I guess? Am I delaying the show?
No, honestly, so we run super long, like every week. It's kind of our running joke is that we are shooting for an hour, and like I think last week's episode was like an hour and 50 minutes somehow. But usually he's driving the clips. So it's just taking me a little bit of time to flip between them, but I actually kind of like this better because I can control it. But anyway, so this is one that I did think Willis actually reads incorrectly, because it is 3rd and long, so 3rd and like 14 or 15 here. But the Titans are on the edge of field goal range, and this is a play from the second half when they were up 17-9. And to me, the goal here is get it in field goal range. Like, screw trying to pick up 15 yards. You're probably not. Just get 5 yards and give Fat Randy a chance to kick a field goal. That to me is the goal here. So I'm not totally sure. Willis, you can see he checks to the left first, and he's looking. Again, the receiving options are gross, right? Like, it's all gross. Like, you've got Hollister outside, you've got Hassan Haskins lined up as a slot receiver up here. You've got, let's see, that's Nick Westbrook-Akina, that's Robert Woods. I think this is Hooper. So it's gross. Like, it's gross out there. I get it, but Haskins wins. Like, Haskins is open, man.
Yeah.
He's open, and that is an easy first down, or not easy first down. That's easily field goal range, if not, potentially a first down if he's able to break a tackle. He probably not, but he is going to get him in field goal range. And for some reason, Willis comes off of it, and I don't know why, because he had leverage on him the whole way, and then he moves off, and he looks back to these end breakers. And honestly, like, Hooper's open there. NWI is open here. And I'm not really, but like by this point, Daly has caved in as usual. So I can understand him not hitting Hooper or NWI. But to me, you've got to hit Haskins. Like, Haskins was your first look. If you hit the back of your drop right here, which this is a quick play, like, this is one step throw. Like, hit the back foot, and this ball needs to be coming out right here, and that is a completion. Like, to me, that is the stuff that you want to see him just clean up a little bit.
It seems like he misunderstands the assignment, right? I mean, like, because if you look at it, you have 3 guys going in breaking routes and only 2 guys going deep, and it seems like that this is a play where a rookie's trying to go to the outside instead of taking the easy completions. He's not understanding the game. Like, the game, the philosophy of what this play should be and what you should be taking if your outside read, which is Cody Hollister, it looks like, is not there.
And I mean, like, I get it. It is a little muddy, like, because the Chiefs, unlike some of those other plays that we've seen, they aren't like pressed up showing their hand, obviously, on this play. Now they are at the end of the day in man coverage, it looks like, or maybe this is just cover 2 with a route distribution to match the underneath coverage. But given that the corner up here sinks so deep, it looks like they're maybe just in 2-man here. But it's one of those where I feel like you've got to make a quick decision no matter where you're going to go. And he had 3 guys that really were going to be open. Whether whoever he threw it to, out of Nick Westbrook-Akine, Austin Hooper, and Hassan Haskins, they were open. All 3 of them won their routes. They were open. You've just got to hit your back foot and let the ball go to one of them. And the moment he's indecisive here, the play's lost. Because, I mean, look, I would love for Dennis Daly to hold up better here too, but this is, like, again, this is a timing quick throw. Like, Dennis Daly blocked for long enough for him to get the ball out.
Do you think it's just a mistrust of the offensive line combined with that too? Because it seems like when he breaks it, it's like when he sees red in your peripheral. Like, I think like he sees a lot of red in the peripheral, and that's why he really took it down.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that's
but
part
Daly
of it.
still held up to enough for him to be able to throw it. I think he was just like twice bitten, super shy kind of guy. Yeah. Which you got to learn to be able to. That's the one good thing about Tannehill is that he'll stay in that pocket and take a hit if he thinks he's going to be able to throw someone open. Like, he would probably hit. That's a throws. Those 3 throws right here, 3 options that Tannehill would have hit one of those guys.
Yeah, I mean,
stayed in the pocket.
See, I mean, this right here, this spot right here is really where the ball needs to be coming out. Like that's why whenever you talk about Willis and his struggles so far, it's almost all timing related. Like, I don't think people, like, I think it's pretty clear that Willis is capable of throwing the football with NFL velocity. I think it's pretty clear that he's capable of, making accurate throws. That to me, physically, I think he can do those things. It's making accurate throws with timing is the missing piece right now. It's all timing related with him. That's all the issues that you really see. And this play also is timing related. And we can have it out here.
By the way, Derek Mason agrees with me. So if I don't know if that holds any weight with you, but he agrees with me.
I mean, look, I will absolutely agree on this play. This is the 2nd and 9 play in overtime. And the Titans are running. This is a play that everyone looked at and was like, you saw that downfield shot of like, why are all the receivers blocking downfield on this passing play? Like, because it looks like a play action shot play. But
he does a really good job of selling it, though. That's not a screenplay, by the way. I think he
does. Yeah. I mean, he's got his eyes downfield. He's patting the ball. It looks for real like they are trying to take a deep shot, and they sell it. I mean, they've got it all set up. Like, and it is this tight end screen to Swaim here. You see, like, he finally releases late. So there he is. He releases. They've got, the convoy out here. And I know this guy is relatively close to him, but this is a fat ass defensive tackle. Like, Geoff Swaim is slow. He's outrunning this guy in getting down the sidelines here. And
I'm not putting money on that, by the way. Isn't that Kalen Saunders?
Is it? It may have been.
He's
Saunders.
Pretty athletic, Mike.
He's pretty athletic for a fat guy, but I still think Swaim is capable enough of running away from him. But the timing is fucked up on this, right? That is the truth of the matter, is that Swaim blocks for too long here and then finally sheds the block. and is open, like he's open. But Willis starts to scramble and is looking and trying to throw it downfield. Eventually,
Which,
takes
by
the
the way, he
sack.
throw it away. Like, if you want my big thing about this play above all else, no matter if you consider Malik as at fault or if you consider Geoff Swaim at fault or whatever, is that Malik should have thrown it away. When he got out of the pocket, he should have thrown that sucker away instead of taking the sack. I will agree on that no matter what.
Yeah, I think timing-wise, Swaim should have released him like right here, right? Like this should have been when he discarded the block.
That's what looks like the offensive linemen were expecting too.
Yeah. And also, by the way, your boy Colin Saunders, if Swaim chucks him at the right time, so let's go back, like right here, right? He's still blocked. Like he's still blocked right there. So this is why, like, I mean, people get so mad at Downing for calling a tight end screen here. This fucking worked. This was wide fucking open, and this probably goes for maybe 20 yards, maybe more.
Because you expect right here is where you expect Geoff Swaim to be getting open, you throw it. And I think that's what Malik's expecting too.
Yes, and he's looking like, I mean, I don't know if he's looking right at Swaim, but he's definitely looking in that direction, like he's ready to throw the ball. And then by the time Swaim actually does chuck him, I mean, Malik's already running around back here. So the timing is jacked up, and I think it had to have been on Swaim that messed up the timing.
Now I want you to see something. In the NFL, you could touch 1 yard behind the line of scrimmage and stay engaged. But if you lose your block, you have to stay stationary.
Yes.
And look at Ben Jones right there. He ain't blocking anybody.
He's still within 1 yard there, though.
I think that's about 1.5. But see, this is where you're going to throw it.
Here's the line of scrimmage. Is the 20...
These refs probably would have called it because this is about where he gets free, right? So there's Geoff Swaim getting free.
Yeah. If he throws it right here, you're good. Now, I mean, if he
maybe this crew, I'm not so sure about.
Well, yeah, I mean, they call, they're liable to call.
But see, here's where you would probably the quarterback would actually throw it is like right there to Geoff Swaim because he's actually looking for it and like got his hands up.
Yeah.
By the time he catches that ball, that's where he's past the line of scrimmage, not engaged with anybody.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. So, and I mean, that all goes back to the timing too.
Yeah. I think if Geoff Swaim, that's why you kind of wish that it would have been Chig or Hooper, who are not considered very good blockers. They probably would have shed that block, maybe even too early, but they at least would have shed it, and they would have maybe been open for a little bit. But you can't take the sack. You can't take the sack. That's my big thing.
Yeah, you could not take the sack there because this team cannot overcome bad down and distances. Like they just can't. And 3rd and 9 is already bad enough, but 3rd and whatever it turned out to be 18 or whatever was obviously not going to happen. But here's the other thing, and people, and I know like it would be better to throw that play to Chig or Hooper, but the problem with that is like, this is Swaim's position right here. Like this is where Swaim always lines up. He's always stapled to the right tackle because he is like a lot of times staying in to help block with these terrible tackles. So they don't get absolutely mauled and killed more so than they already are. So I think if you put Hooper in right here, alarm bells start going off for the defense that, hey, we need to watch out for whatever's going on over here because they might throw it to this guy. Like with Swaim, they're less likely to pay attention to that. And, Swaim can catch a 3-yard pass just as well as any of those guys. And then run after the catch or whatever. Right? He's not as good after the catch as Chig, but he's as good as Cooper is.
Can I ask you a question about this though? This play design. Why do you think that if it would have worked? It'd have been great. I agree with that. It would have gone on. But why do they put so much faith that Geoff Swaim and this crew and Malik Willis is going to do everything right and not give Malik another safety valve to let the pass go? Because if there was someone doing a different route and Geoff Swaim gets caught up like he did, he would have had somewhere to throw, even if maybe it wasn't the right play.
Yeah, I mean, like 99% of screens are basically one read plays. I mean, it's going to the guy it's designed for, or it's going in the dirt, one of the two. That's why I like, a lot of times if the screen isn't there, almost always you'll see a quarterback just throw it at their feet, or something like that. So I mean, could they have given him something on the backside or something like that, or receivers maybe actually at least looking for a football? Maybe, but it's really like 9 times out of 10, if not more.
Should he have thrown it at Swaim's feet, or should he have tried to make plays with his feet and then try to throw it out of bounds if he didn't have anything?
Yeah,
because if for Willis, I guess you would want him to try to make a play with his feet if possible.
The tricky thing is, and here's almost like I'm not sure what Willis is looking at here, because he starts to scramble, and I almost wonder if he is thinking like, I guess Swaim forgot the play, and maybe he's like, I'm just going to take off and run behind where the blocks were going to be anyways. Because he initially takes off that direction until he sees Swaim start to shed Dunlap here. And then he's like, oh, shed, and he doubles back. But yeah, I mean, honestly, if Swaim would have just kept blocking, Malik has a lane too, right? Like you almost like that even better. Maybe.
Well, I don't know. I've heard that he runs a 4.9 or something. He's very slow, according to people.
He is not. He's a better runner than Swaim is for sure. So you kind of like that better. But even still, like, he tries to double back, and then it's just the walls close in on him. And yeah, you'd like to see like, hey, maybe can you just throw this out of bounds right here? But then you've got to be able to turn and get it far enough to get it beyond the line of scrimmage and all that stuff anyway. So I'm not sure he could have done that safely with them bearing down on his right arm like that. So and he clearly was trying to throw it away at the end, but just an unfortunate series of timing issues here. And like I do wish Malik would have been a little bit more patient with it, or just thrown it at Swaim's feet and given him the, hey, what the fuck are you doing, man? After the play and lived to run a 3rd and 9. But that does it for really the Malik section here on the film stuff. I want to show a few snaps here of the defense because defense was spectacular. I think we all have come to appreciate the pass rush and what those guys are able to do consistently. But I wanted to get a few snaps where we're just looking at the coverage that the Titans were able to put out there, because these guys on the back end played a phenomenal game. Like, the Titans got
well, that's what they did in last year's matchup too, is like they confused them with all the different coverages.
Yeah, and that was the case this year as well. I mean, they did a ton to Mahomes throughout this game, man. Look, he's got to throw it away, like eventually, like, and he's sitting back there in the pocket for forever, right? Like, I mean, the snap here is at about 4 seconds. He holds it. Finally throws it away at 11 seconds. So he was in the pocket for like 7 seconds here, which is an eternity by NFL standards. So, but you see all these guys out here, like here's Fulton. This is Andrew Adams. I believe that's Josh Kalu, Kevin Byard, Roger McCreary. All of these guys getting the job done. And
is that Monty Rice out there with David Long?
Who is that? No, that's Cunningham.
Is it Cunningham?
Yeah, that's Cunningham. But yeah, I mean, they just do a good job of staying on, their guys here. They're just plastered all over the place. Like wherever you look, like there's just nowhere he has to go. There's nobody open the whole play. Like it's really incredible coverage, and it was consistent like this throughout this game. Like I've got a couple more to show. I don't want to do too many just because eventually it gets boring watching people just run around not being open. But it's pretty incredible the way that this defense was just able to confuse him and make him hold the ball. Like this is a sack here. And it's stuff like if you watch this defense, Fulton is on Juju here in the slot. Like after Juju comes in motion, Fulton's following him. And this is obviously man. But these guys are just, nobody's open. Nobody. Like pick a guy before the snap and watch him. Like watch Roger McCreary here in the slot. Just not a chance. Like not a chance. Like nobody's open, not even remotely. Like
who's following the deep threat down the field?
Down here?
Yeah.
That's Terrence Mitchell.
Okay.
Yeah, so Terrence Mitchell is out here running with Mecole
Hardman. Bold move by the Titans that actually worked.
Yeah. Terrence Mitchell's been playing pretty good football for them. It's as crazy as it is to say, but you just see, the Titans when they're able to do this, and of course you got Byard on Kelsey, and Byard gets help from Andrew Adams, who is kind of robbing in the middle of the field here, but it's really impressive what the Titans secondary was able to do, and of course you had Bud Dupree getting pressure. You got Jeffrey Simmons in there around the quarterback, and then eventually Autry.
All-pro Autry.
All-pro, the grand old Autry finishes them off. And then we've got another sack here that was largely coverage dictated. But I think this Titans secondary, and look, Josh Kalu played a pretty good game. Like he played better than I really would have thought coming into this game. But when they get Elijah Molden back, this has a chance to be really something special on the back end because there's no Amani Hooker in this game either, right? Like no Molden, no Hooker. They've got Andrew Adams and Josh Kalu out there, and they're still just giving Mahomes fits. And here's another one. This is definitely a coverage sack, but you can see they rotate the safeties, so they're sitting in too high pre-snap, and then Byard walks down to pick up the tight end here over the middle. Andrew Adams bails out, and they're really in man coverage here. So they show a too high look. They rotate down to like one robber. And, eventually, Mahomes just has to, like, he gives that pump, which you can see, like, he's processing, right? He's processing. All right, this is what they're doing to me. What I wanted wasn't really open. All right, now I'm in panic mode. And here comes Mario Edwards Jr. Finishing him off for a sack. So
my God, he was in hell. We talk about Malik being in hell, but you look at this play and you're like, look, even a elite quarterback like Patrick Mahomes, if the defense does what they're supposed to do, you ain't got nowhere to fucking go.
Yeah, and this Titans secondary, if they can play man coverage like this, the defense is only going to get better because if they can play man like this and you have that pass rush, it's going to be big time trouble for opposing offenses. But yeah, I just wanted to give a little bit of love to the secondary because they're playing really good football. And yeah, some of those sacks that you see the Titans get home on, they aren't necessarily instant sacks. Now they have gotten a lot of instant pressure, but that ability to just make any quarterback sit there and hold the ball for even a split second to think and process what's going on really gives the pass rush a chance to get home and shine. And it's one of those things where, one hand is kind of washing the other with the pass rush and the coverage and all that. And it's a beautiful thing when it's all synced up. And by the way, you can't run on this defense like at all. So don't even try. So it's a fun defense to watch right now. Look, it's, to me, barring Jeffrey Simmons and Bud Dupree just never being able to get healthy this season, which, it's been a few weeks now. But barring that just becoming a chronic issue for them, this defense, I feel like, is only going to get better. And it's got the chance to carry them, even if the offense never really fully gets there this season. As long as Derrick Henry's doing something and they can get it something out of the passing game, which they're just not getting anything right now, but something out of the passing game would make this a really good football team, in my opinion. So that does it for the film portion. And we'll get into some Titans Broncos stuff after the break here. But if you are not a Broadway insider, this is where your journey ends. If you want to listen to the whole episode,
fuck out
or watch the
no
whole
cheapskates.
episode, go subscribe, join us, get all the best coverage Broadway has to offer, from Titans to Nashville SC. Go check it out. We got World Cup stuff coming up. It's going to be all over the site, which the World Cup, if you're into the World Cup, you'll want to be subscribed to Broadway Sports. Ben Wright and Chris Ivey and all the soccer guys over there do a phenomenal job on the site covering soccer. They'll have some of the best local World Cup coverage that you can get here. So go subscribe and then come join us on the back end.
Listen, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Listen, it's $50 a month. Just use code INSIDER for 99 cents for your first month, or code ANNUAL for 40% off the annual price. Like, just do it. It's so worth it.
How much did you say per month?
It's 99 cents the first month if you use code INSIDER. If you use code ANNUAL, it's 40% off, and it's $49.99. So that's $50. That's less for the whole year. That's so cheap. That's less than $5 a month. I mean, it's easy. It's an easy decision to make.
Easy peasy.
We got kids to feed. I got dog, but you got a kid.
I've got a kid to feed. Yeah.
You got a kid to feed. We need this money. Pay for it. This will be it for you, though. You're gone if you do not pay and you're not locked in. Until you go
pay, and then you can come back.
Then you come back. Come on back. All right. Titans Broncos preview. Mike, this feels like the part in The Office where Pam goes and asks someone, I can't remember who it is, corporate needs you to look at these two pictures and spot all the differences. And was it Will Ferrell's character that she said that to? Or no, it was Creed. It was Creed.
Yeah.
When Creed was manager. Corporate needs you to find these the differences in these pictures. And then it cuts back to her in the break room, and she's saying they're the same picture. This is the same picture. They're the same fucking team, I feel like. And I don't know. Obviously, I think the bigger concern is if Jeffrey Simmons is going to go, but I don't know if I'm that concerned with Jeffrey Simmons.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Simmons will play. I mean, I know he's in a boot right now, but I think that's more of a speeding the healing process thing than it is a signal that, he's in really bad shape or anything like that. Anytime you have like a foot or ankle injury, like they always just say like immobilize it. Like,
oh wow, Ryan Tannehill was considered a full participant today, not a limited participant. That's
yeah. So I get the sense that maybe Tannehill's playing in this one. I just get the feeling he's doing a lot more at practice. I think the big question is almost how does he look on those outside, those wide zone handoffs? Because that's almost the one time where you feel like he has to make a really athletic move. Because otherwise, like, I feel like even if he does go, if he's pressured in the pocket, that he's going to throw that shit away. Like that, they are going to have to put him in a spot where he can throw it away, because he's not going to be out there running around, extending plays, making plays on the run, that kind of thing. I don't think we're going to see a super mobile Tannehill if he does play, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But I do agree that these are two teams that are very similar in a lot of ways. Now, I would say defensively, both defenses are great. The difference is that the Titans are the best run defense in the NFL. They are number one in almost any statistic that you want to look at from a run defense standpoint. The Broncos are not that good of a run defense. They are 25th in run defense DVOA. They're a little shaky as a run defense unit, which plays into the Titans' hands, obviously. But Denver is locked down as a pass defense. They are the best pass defense in the NFL by DVOA. So it's kind of, if you're choosing between what to be good at, you'd usually say, all right, give me the really great pass defense. But in this specific matchup, I kind of think the Titans aren't going to be fazed by the Broncos defense quite as much as most teams would be, because they already can't pass the ball. This is going to feel no different than your normal Titans game, where they feel like, you're suffocated in the passing game and you can't get off coverage. Because look, Patrick Surtain covering Cody Hollister, who gives a shit? Like, I mean, honestly, who gives a shit? The one caveat being that, like, if Treylon Burks plays and they just have Patrick Surtain shadow him all game, it's the Titans just, you just might as well just run Henry every single play, because it's game over as far as throwing the football. But
well, here's the thing: they traded away Bradley Chubb, right?
Yeah, which that's going to hurt the pass defense.
But they also got in Jacob Martin, who played for the Texans, who Henry is known for gashing on the ground. So he's no help against this team that you're about to play, because he sucks. That's where Henry's rushed for combined 462 yards and 4 touchdowns in the games that Jacob Martin and Derrick Henry have been featured in. And then on top of that, you talk about the there was a 1-score game. I believe it was against the Raiders earlier this year. The Broncos closed their deficit against the Raiders in like week 4. It's like 25-23 after scoring a touchdown or something. 7:16 left in the game. All they got to do is come up with a stop, and Denver would give the ball back to Russell Wilson and all that kind of stuff. Okay? So they're down 25-23. The Raiders gained 47 yards on 7 carries on the ensuing drive and capped by 7-yard Josh Jacobs touchdown with 2 minutes, 7 seconds left. This is, again, much like the Texans game, seems pretty set up, but the problem is that I feel like in this instance, luckily Tannehill is trending to play at the time of this recording, that if it was a Malik game, I feel like you have to have your full complement of defensive pieces, because if you don't, then you're putting a lot of pressure. It's like, okay, Denver may be up 13-3. And you got to put a lot of pressure on Malik to kind of catch up against a really good pass defense, because they're obviously a smarter, better defensive unit as a whole than the Texans. They're not going to be, if Malik was starting and it was just Derrick Henry being the only weapon, they're not going to be as easily as undisciplined as the Texans are, right? I mean, that's how I kind of view it.
Yeah, I mean, they are. They won't be as undisciplined, but they are, from a size standpoint, they are super light up front. I mean, it is, DJ Jones is a good run defender, but he's 6 foot, 305 pounds. Like, he's just a little fire hydrant in there. And he's their nose tackle. But then Draymond Jones, who's a really, really good pass rusher, he's only 6'3", 281. So as a run defender, he's not a guy that's going to hold up at the point of attack. He's one of their, they run a 3-4 base defense. So he's one of their defensive, interior defenders. Deshaun Williams, again, 6'1", 291, not a good run defender. Baron Browning is one of their outside linebackers. He's 6'3", 240 pounds. And then their other outside linebacker, like you just mentioned, Jacob Martin, is 6'3", 242 pounds. So they are so small up front. I feel like this is one of those games where it is just begging the Titans to just lean on them for 4 quarters with the run game. Like, I feel like Derrick Henry is.
I feel like that's every game, though. But you're saying that it will actually be successful.
It is. But I think they can be successful against this group, because I think they can bully them up front. And that really sets up well for what the Titans want to do. Now, the Broncos are going to be aware of that. They're going to be trying to play, they're going to be trying to run blitz and do all the shit that KC was doing to try to stop Derrick Henry, I'm sure, regardless of whether it's Tannehill or Malik under center. So you're going to have to do something in the passing game. but I don't know that you have to do a ton. I think they're going to have some success on the ground in this game, and I think they'll be able to find opportunities to run the football. And then on the flip side, like Denver's offense, it's rough. It's really rough.
Let me ask you a question. We're talking Amani Hooker, Elijah Molden, Zach Cunningham, Bud Dupree, Jeffrey Simmons. All obviously are dealing with different issues, varying degrees, and all obviously have been missing practice. So I ask you, what's your cutoff point to feel comfortable about this defense against this offense? Like, okay, these guys can miss, but I feel good because these guys are there.
I don't think it matters about Cunningham, which Cunningham, I think he's a pretty decent player. Like, I think he's a good player, especially as a run defender. But Dylan Cole has been just as good this year. And, Monty Rice is still there. So I feel fine without Cunningham. I feel like it would be really nice to have Amani Hooker, but I don't feel like you have to have him. Just given the way Andrew Adams has played and the way they've been able to cope in the secondary. But to me, it's Jeffrey Simmons and Bud Dupree. Like, those are the two key guys, and mostly Simmons, because while, they've been able to get by somewhat without Bud out there. Bud obviously makes a big difference for them. But then Simmons, we have not seen them without Simmons out there. And I don't want to see what that looks like, because Simmons is awesome and a lot of fun to watch. Now, does Simmons sitting out mean it's game over, like they can't win? I don't think so, because I think Kevin Strong has played pretty well, and they've got some other guys that have been producing. You can always bump Autry inside, especially if Dupree is playing. But I think it'll be interesting to see who shakes out in this game. But I'm not terribly concerned about anybody, but really Simmons. Simmons is the guy to me.
Gotcha. That's kind of where I landed. It's like, if Simmons is in, defense is going to play awesome. If Simmons is out, but Dupree is in, they're still going to be good. If they're both are going to be, it's going to be a one step below awesome. And if they're both out, it's like, okay, they're still probably going to be a good defense, because you just saw Simmons, or you just saw Autry and Mario Edwards go off for 8 pressures each against the Kansas City Chiefs, which have a better pass blocking offensive line than the Broncos. So it's like, it changes, but it doesn't change to where I'm like shaking in my boots that Russell Wilson's going to throw for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening either way. But I will admit that I will say one other guy that worries me a little bit is Christian Fulton. The hamstring issue that popped up or whatever this week. If they're without him, that hurts, because he has been so good the last few weeks. And, Roger McCreary is a good corner. Terrence Mitchell has been okay. I suppose they could get Molden back this week, which would help a little bit. But Fulton's by far their best corner. And the Broncos aren't super scary at wide receiver. Like, Cortland Sutton's a pretty good player. Jerry Jeudy's a pretty good player, but they haven't been producing this year. So I'm not terrified of those guys without Fulton, but it would at least raise some alarm bells that the pass defense will take a step back most likely without him. Because to me, he's their key guy back there.
Okay, let's say that Tannehill suffers a setback and he doesn't practice tomorrow, which probably means that if he suffers a setback like that, he's probably not going to play on Sunday. Malik Willis is in. Where I think with Malik Willis, it's like a 13-10, 16-10 kind of game, and the Titans could win as long as Simmons plays. Where do you rank on all that?
I would say, I think it's assuming Simmons plays and the defense is what it has been, or close to it. I think the Titans will be able to win this game in a low scoring kind of way, which I really think is going to be the way that the game plays out either way. I think at the end of the day, this comes down to the Titans are better coached. The Titans are tougher, and the Titans are playing at home. And to me, that's what gives me confidence that they'll
They have
actually
the way better
win
head
this game.
coach.
Right. Yeah. This might be the biggest coaching matchup in the NFL this season between Vrabel and Hackett. But to me, that is where the difference is that I just think the Titans, there's more opportunities for things to go right for them than there are for the Broncos, just because of the position that Vrabel will ultimately put them in. So I think they'll get it done, but I think it'll probably be ugly.
Okay, so this will be a good time to transition to what do you call it? Money Maker Mike. What a great name. Money Maker Mike. You're a 4-1 last week, Mike. You're 17-13 on the year. You hit the Bucks, the Titans, the Commanders, Jaguars, and missed on the Packers. So let's start with the Titans Broncos game because we're talking about the defense. Does Tannehill being in? The current over-under is 36.5. Does Tannehill move the line, and does it change your thinking on your bet? Because you got to tell people what your bet is.
Yeah, so I've got under 36.5 in this game. And I think if Tannehill did play, the line probably ticks up a little bit, but I'm still taking the under. I'm taking the under almost no matter what it is here, because I really do. I think this is going to be like 13-10. I really think it's going to be a slugfest. It's going to be cold here in Nashville on Sunday. I think it's just going to be a cold, ugly, just no team scores more than 20 kind of game. And it's going to be hard to get to 36 without one team scored more than 20.
So you said that no team's going to score 20, right?
Right.
Is that what you just said? Yeah, because that was the question that I posed on a football show was, will either team actually even score 20 points? Because I think it's like 16-10, 16-13. I think it's an ugly game. I was eyeing the under this morning. I'm not sure that Tannehill changes that, but I may, if it stays at 36.5, I may go the over.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
It depends to me on what type of Tannehill they're getting, which obviously you won't know until kickoff. But if it is a severely hobbled Tannehill, I don't know that it should increase the over.
All right, you got the Bears and Lions matchup. The Bears are hot right now with Justin Fields that you stole from me, and you didn't even need him in fantasy football, you bastard. They go and face the Lions, who the Lions last week just utterly embarrassed Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. And make no mistake about it, Justin Fields is having a phenomenal fantasy football season year, mainly through the ground. He's no Aaron Rodgers through the air.
No.
Where are you landing on this? Because the line is currently at 2.5 in favor of the Bears.
So I am betting on the Bears. The Bears are at home. They should be giving more than 2.5 points.
Whoa. You believe that much in the Fields magic?
I do, because the Lions defense is horrendous. They are horrendous. I know they shut down Aaron Rodgers and the wounded Packers last week, but going on the road to Chicago, which I know the Bears are coming off a loss, but the Bears fans are going to be going nuts in this game. I feel like this is a game the Bears should win, and should win comfortably. And I think the Bears are going to run all over Detroit. I don't think Detroit's defense has a chance in hell of stopping this Justin Fields, David Montgomery, kind of crazy Khalil Herbert combo running attack that the Bears are going to be able to put on the field against them. They just aren't going to be able to stop the run. So I'm taking Bears minus 2.5, and I feel really good about that one.
That's interesting. I almost want to go with the Lions for the upset, but maybe take the points in on that. Just very interesting. Right now, the Lions are 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, they've only won 4 against the spread, so they're not very good and reliable against the spread. Next up is the matchup of the week, maybe even of the year, Mike. Steelers versus Saints. Some of the 2 worst quarterbacks in the NFL are going at it. You have Kenny Pickett versus Andy Dalton. No Michael Thomas, because Michael Thomas has decided that he just can't ever stay healthy anymore. So he's on IR. Alvin Kamara's been going crazy. The Saints are coming off a bye week. The Saints played on Monday Night Football. What an atrocious game that was. Where are you at? Because I see your pick, and this is one the Bears Lions I could see. This one I definitely disagree with because you're going Steelers plus 2.5 as the Steelers are one of the worst offenses in the NFL.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I think it'll be a low-scoring game. TJ Watt is returning this week for the Steelers. The Saints offense is terrible. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, and I'll just take the points with the Steelers being at home. These are two bad teams. To me, it comes down to the fact that, like, I don't think the Saints are, like, on a neutral field, 5.5 points better than the Steelers. So I'm taking the points. And I'm going to bet on I always love to have a few home dogs in there because those have been good to me.
If Jameis Winston starts, does that change?
It might make me like my bet better.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No turnover, Jameis.
Well, we were talking about the Packers earlier, and they stink. They are single-handedly ruining my fantasy football season in multiple leagues because I went really all in on Aaron Rodgers. I thought, Aaron Rodgers is really going to show everybody that he doesn't need Devontae Adams. Well, that's false. False. They go up against the Cowboys, and the Cowboys are tremendous on defense. And I agree with your pick here. You have Cowboys being favored, and you're taking the points on the Cowboys at 4.5.
Yeah, I am laying the 4.5, even at Green Bay. I mean, it is the Cowboys are just a way, way better football team than the Packers are right now. The Packers are also super banged up. I mean, as bad as they played against the Lions, they may be worse this week because they lost like 8 players in that game to injuries. So, so they may get some of those guys back. Like it sounds like Aaron Jones might have a chance to play, but good Lord, are they just absolutely destroyed by injuries right now. And that Cowboys team is no joke. They're good. And with Dak playing, they're going to put up some more points. So yeah, I like Cowboys over Packers.
How high would that spread have to be for you not to bet on it?
If it got above a touchdown, I probably wouldn't bet on it.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. We already talked about the under for the Titans Broncos. So the last game is the Jeff Saturday, Josh McDaniels Super Bowl. It is the Raiders that are limping in to go against the Colts team. That is just a complete and utter circus. I see that you're choosing Raiders at 5.5. You're taking the points in favor of the Raiders, who are favored. So you're not buying into that the Colts are going to turn it around and run the table like the Indian media is hyping it up to be already. It didn't take long.
Yeah, Jeff Saturday corrected a guy at practice, and wow, what a remarkable correction he made there. This Colts thing has disaster written all over it. And look, the Raiders are dysfunctional in their own right, and I think they just put Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow on IR. So it really is down to just Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs on that offense. But they're still a functional football team. The Colts have looked dysfunctional for weeks, and they just hired a coach who had to introduce himself to the whole team and all the coaches. And they are using a 30-year-old offensive video assistant to call plays. This is going to be horrific. This has the chance to be.
So you're not buying into the new coach bump at all. No new coach bump.
No, I'm not buying it. I would buy it if it was a coach that had any level of experience. And I mean, Sam Ellinger and this offense, there's just not enough pieces and parts there that work anyways. And now you're putting inexperienced coaches in charge of it. It just has all the markings of disaster. I think the Raiders blow them out.
All right, Mike, I got a question for you because the Raiders announced no Darren Waller, no Hunter Renfrow, gone to IR, both those players, and the line's only moved 1 point. Is this a trap game? Is they trying to lull you in and taking Vegas and the Raiders on this, and they know that the Colts are going to win this game?
I mean, it could be a trap game. I mean, it would be a great narrative game for the NFL if Jeff Saturday comes in here and somehow wins a game over the Raiders on the road, and the indie media would be naked in the streets, bathing themselves. after the game, but I just don't. I don't see how it can happen. I just don't.
Well, before we get into your mic drop, because I'm anxious to hear what your Mike's hot take of the week. Just in case you missed it, Music City Audible with Justin Miller, Justin Graver's out. They have Benjamin Albright, who probably has probably 90% of you that are watching this blocked. Yeah, I know he has me blocked, but he does have good tidbits about what me and Mike have talked about before, that John Robinson actually did his job and called on players. What a surprise. But it's not just Bradley Chubb. There's other stuff, so you need to go listen to it. Second in Victory with Austin Nelson, Brett Batchelor, and Chris Carter. It's also out earlier today on a Thursday. They talked about the Kansas City game and how the heartbreaking loss it was. And, of course, tomorrow morning, don't miss the Hot Read podcast with Easton Freeze, who's still doing this Hot Read podcast and ignoring his Hot Wife podcast.
Wow.
Just a real bad move. Right out of the gate, you never... in a honeymoon, never record a podcast during your honeymoon.
To be fair, I'm not 100% sure he's going to do that or not, but I'm not.
I saw it on the little queue up here when I was creating this show for us to record. We use StreamYard. It's up there. Someone's doing it.
Okay. So maybe he is.
Bad move. All right, mic drop. Drop it like it's hot.
All right, so my hot take of the week is the Buffalo Bills are not going to win the AFC East. I am very concerned about this Josh Allen injury deal with the elbow, and somebody mentioned nerve damage, which gave me Mariota flashbacks. I think there's reason to be concerned there. And look, the injuries for Buffalo have just piled up, and both the Jets and the Dolphins have beaten Buffalo. So if it ends up coming down to a tiebreaker, the Bills already have 2 division losses, and they still have games left to play against both of those teams in their division. And the Patriots are not terrible either. So I think the Bills are not going to win that division. I'm not sure if it's going to be the Jets or the Dolphins. I'd probably pick the Dolphins if I had to choose, but I think someone besides Buffalo is winning the AFC East, which would be like a massive upset and would actually prove my very first take of this segment from this season very correct when I said that the Bills were overrated headed into the season, even though I was not predicting a Josh Allen injury and a million other injuries.
That doesn't
I'm
really
still going to take credit for it.
That doesn't count because
I'm still going to take credit.
Everything. It's like if you make a bet, right? You make a bet. If we would have made a bet that said, okay, the Bills are going to be overrated or whatever, or not going to be overrated. One of us would have said, but if Josh Allen gets injured, that changes the bets off.
I had no opposition to it, so I get to take credit.
All right. Well, supposedly I just got breaking news. Easton is on a boat, but he's still tweeting on said boat. But I have to go and post this terrible Titans Twitter take article for Greenlaw. I'm doing pretty much everything that I set out not to do today. But I did get my Halloween decorations finally down. It's November 10th. All Halloween decorations down. Are your Halloween decorations? Did you even decorate?
I didn't decorate. No.
Not for Halloween?
No. I thought about it, but I just didn't want to do it.
I'm going to drop off some of these Halloween decorations I'm going to use next year at your house. Listen, y'all probably get tons of trick-or-treaters, though, right?
We do, but Dom was sick this year on Halloween. I was sick
too. We were sick at the same time.
So we did the Scrooge thing, and we turned off the lights and shut the door and pretended we weren't home. So.
I did that, but I put a skeleton rat that was motion sensor, and so I would be able to watch all the kids get scared from my couch. But I could hear it over the TV. It's kind of funny. They all complained because I put it on this like big table, and apparently it was too high for a lot of the kids. I didn't really think about small kids when I put it on this table.
Yeah, you're looking for those adult trick-or-treaters.
Yeah, I could hear them complain. There were some adult trick-or-treaters that came in and stole a lot of candy. I saw them. I saw you if you're listening in the Copper Creek neighborhood. I saw you. All right, take us home.
All right, we'll see you next week.